Hello and welcome to the show, which takes a look at the big stories covered by our news teams this week, as well as some of the headlines in the local papers. Joining me to help navigate the hot topics, I'm delighted to welcome back local broadcaster and producer Dan Morfitt. Thank you for coming back, Dan.
Thank you.
And also Donna Crawsar-Paddock, who's the centre manager at Peter Pine Training right here in Walsall, making her debut on Big Centre. So Donna, tell us a bit about you and your business first and foremost.
Well, I've been with the company 11 years. I started there as administration.
What's the company do?
Peter Pine Training delivers hairdressing, barbering and beauty therapy services in terms of training young people. We do pre-apprenticeship programmes, apprenticeship programmes, short courses, trying to tailor everything to the individual really. Obviously, in terms of recruitment, we do 6 weeks initial assessment periods. That gives us chance to establish which programme is the best one and obviously correct for that individual, rather than just putting them on a programme due to GCSE results or whatnot. It's all about finding out about those.
How popular is it at the moment?
Very popular. I mean, obviously the industry is getting ever growing really in terms of, like, obviously barbering services. Gents are having far more work done than they ever did. And obviously beauty services as well are kind of always growing in different directions. Obviously eyebrows, fake tan, nails, etc. But obviously, I mean, we've been doing hairdressing, barbering for 40 years now in training. Right. So we've been well established really in that area.
Do you look at the menu when you go into the barbers now?
That's what I was wondering. Do you do those nights where members of the public can come in and get handled by your trainees?
Yeah, I mean, what we actually do is we have a ground floor salon on Darwell Street in Walsall, which offers obviously all the hairdressing and barbering services. Fantastic location. It's opposite St Paul's Church, which obviously has a lot of passing trade. And yes, obviously it's just at kind of cheaper prices because it's trainees doing the services, but they're well, got high quality of training, so obviously, well prepared to do any of those services that you come in for.
I'm just writing down Peter Pine. Because it's cheaper barbering.
It is.
It's a key part of their course network now, isn't it, to actually have some practical experience?
Yeah.
They can't really graduate without it.
No, I mean, obviously a trade such as hairdressing and barbering, I mean, obviously you wouldn't want someone who's just done a lot of exams, paper-based, but never actually cut someone's hair. It's a very practical industry, obviously it's hands-on, and obviously a lot of our learners may not be, kind of ready for that world of work initially, so we actually do like pre-apprenticeship programs to give them those skills that will make them employable really and get them on that ladder of the apprenticeship.
I think I'd be too basic for them, don't you think? Just get rid of them as grey as possible, that's all I ask them to do.
I think we can both book in for like a mani-pedi and a beard trim next week or something.
Yeah.
You could just have a shear.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Just don't colour it, that's all. Let's have a look at our first package. So being a Walsall girl, you'll see where this has been filmed. Because of course it was Leap Year Day on Monday, the 29th of February, day that comes around every 4 years, and it's full of all sorts of quirky traditions. One of them is that a girl can propose to her other half. So what did the people of the Black Country think of it all? And were any of them planning to get down on one knee?
I think they should be able to propose whenever they want. I don't think there should be a personal time when they have to.
I don't agree to it. I think I'm old-fashioned. I think a man should propose to a woman. It's just as simple as that. I don't think it's nice for a girl to have to get on the knees and propose to a man when it's a man's job. It's always been for years and years and years. Why should it change now? I think that's the one thing that should stay the same.
I think that's good because equal opportunity for the women to get it right instead of the man getting it wrong.
It's ridiculous. A girl should be able to ask a boy any time of the year, not just on one day because it's a leap year. It's ridiculous.
And would you do it?
No, because I haven't been with my partner very long, but if I did want to marry him, I'd ask him any time, not just because it was a leap year.
And will you be proposing tonight?
No.
All right then. All right, thanks.
It's all right.
It's a funny gimmick, isn't it, really? I also heard another, I don't know if this is an old wives' tale as well, that if the lady proposes to the man and the man turns her down, that man has to buy her a silk dress, apparently.
Oh.
I've heard a fur coat.
So it's a win-win.
So,
but I've never heard it before.
It's an incentive to go around asking people to marry you, I presume, isn't it?
I think that's made up by your Harvey Nicks of the world. But it's good to do in 2020.
So they check on what sort of outfitters they've got in their town and they tailor that little tale to around, whether...
Terrible.
What do you think about? I mean, 29th. Do you do anything particularly special on the 29th? Clearly, you're a married woman, so you didn't go around proposing.
No, I
to
didn't go
anyone,
around
so.
proposing. My husband wouldn't be very happy with that now. I didn't do anything particularly special. I spend a lot of time with my little boy, so that's the only other man in my life, really. But I think if I would have had to wait any longer, I would have been the one asking, to be honest.
Do you wait 4 years? Then? Do you want to wait 4 years?
I had to wait 10 for my husband.
These days, women feel they're perfectly at liberty to ask anyway, don't they?
Yeah, at any time.
Yeah.
Why wait until February the 29th?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you only get a birthday once every 4 years as well. There's all that going on.
Yeah.
So if you've got a youngster, of course, it's been World Book Day this week. Is he old enough to be involved in all of that?
No, not quite. He's only 2, but he absolutely loves his books, Thomas. And yeah, we do read a lot of stories, so he's into books already.
Have you seen? I mean, it's become a serious business like Halloween, isn't it? Now it's become massive pressure on parents.
I've seen some great things online this week. People dressed up as Harry Potter, Mary Poppins. Mr. Grey from 50 Shades of Grey. I don't think that's a good thing to dress your kids up on World Book Day, but...
I presume it's whatever happens to be in the wardrobe at the time, isn't it? So,
as long as he didn't take any toys into school that day as well.
My favourite one that I saw on social media was the parent that said, whoops, forgot it was World Book Day today, so I've had to send my 2 dressed as items on page 47 and 48 of the Argos catalogue.
I saw that with a little girl holding the toaster.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's cute.
Because it's massive pressure, isn't there? And the peer pressure now for these sort of things is huge, isn't it?
Definitely,
so, what about some of the styles that you see fads and styles and fashions in your industry probably as much as any, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Obviously, and the standards kind of replicate that. So obviously, if the industry is kind of having a boom with perms, albeit for men as well as women, then the standards kind of evolve and move in that direction. So yeah, it's very much an ever-changing environment. The industry, you can never know everything. It's always, you can learn new techniques and new skills. So yeah, that's why it's kind of exciting, really, because you never know what the next trend is coming in and the skills that you're going to pick up, really.
And if you've been involved in this company for quite a number of years, you'll have seen how many different trends come and go.
Yeah, some good and some not so good.
Tell us the not so good ones are interesting, isn't it?
Did you just look at me when you said not so good?
No, not at all. No. I think the thing is, it's each their own. I mean, mullets, they're great for people who like mullets. I'm not a fan myself, but it's just different, as I say, different trends that come in and out of the industry that we have to jump on the bandwagon and make sure that all of our prospective stylists out there are going to obviously be able to perform those services.
We'll talk some more about business and apprenticeships a bit later on, but time to look at another package now, an important issue, this one. Try before you buy, that's the motto in Solihull this week, where the council is aiming to empower people who need support to stay independent in their own homes. And with so many options out there these days, why not try out what's on offer? Lois Swinnerton investigates.
From ironing boards to stair lifts and even hydraulic cookers, it's all on display at the Better Living Centre in Solihull. Those in need of extra care can test out different gadgets to see if they meet their personal needs. It's Janet's first visit to the centre and she's impressed.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. People are just going to love it, that they can see the different things they can use, even from a wheelchair. Once people know about it, I think it'll be very beneficial for people to look at, to see, to use, to see how to use things and the difference it will make to their lives.
And is there anything specific here that you're looking for?
I'm not sure at the moment. The kitchen I'm interested in. I'm just about to try and get a move and to see what beds they've got and stuff like that. At the moment, I'm okay, but as time goes on, I'm just going to get worse. So I will need other things and possibly be in a wheelchair virtually all the time. So that kind of thing would be great to look at.
Run by Solihull Council, the centre provides assistance to anyone regardless of their financial situation, and it's a facility for more than just those in need.
Carers quite often have to use the equipment that helps these people, their relatives. If they come here, they can get training on how to use it. They can get advice on what's the best equipment that's going to meet that particular need.
The centre, which opened last week, aims to help disabled people and those planning for later life to remain independent in the comfort of their own home. It's in a hope that this will reduce the amount of people being unnecessarily admitted to hospitals and care homes.
In the days where we've got a growing population of older people, there is tremendous pressure On hospital places, we've heard lots of reports about the delays in discharging people from hospital because their home hasn't been adapted, they haven't got the equipment they need, or there's not places at community homes. So this is really going to help.
Lois Swinnerton for the Midland in Solihull.
This is actually a massive issue, isn't it, right now? The whole idea of finding ways of taking pressure off the NHS and trying to keep people as independent, as active as you possibly can. When we're seeing these extra care centres springing up all over the place, aren't we? I mean, do you see, around Birmingham area, you must have seen a lot of this.
I think definitely, but it's all about that balance of finances, isn't it? Because they need the beds in the NHS to be used for patients, but they're still getting clogged up with people in the later years that can't go home because it's not properly modified for them. So schemes like this are fantastic. It's a council's obligation, and people feel better when they're at home in their own environment, the place that they've built up over many years, rather than in some very clinical, white, scary place.
But of course, though, the other problem is that you hear all the time that councils are having their adult social care budgets coming under pressure, being cut. There's been all of this talk in the media about some people only getting sort of 15-minute care visits, when they're trying to get a bit of extra support. They've got to have that infrastructure behind them if they're going to stay in their own homes, haven't they, really? So.
Yeah, they need the support, don't they? Because, like you say, it may be mobility that they need a bit of support with, or, just doing general daily jobs, but they do want to stay at home, don't they? They're quite proud people as well, talking, obviously, in terms of family members, they want to stay kind of as mobile and do little things for themselves to keep that, keep that side of it, really. And it's a shame, as I say, when they go into these spaces, they kind of lose that identity, don't they, really?
But there's got to be an acceptance, hasn't there, that you do still need a big chunk of funding to put the infrastructure in place to support that. But obviously a lot of these extra care centres that are sprouting up now are private enterprises, so they see it as a massive market.
But should it be private? It just should be something that we do for our society, because we're all going to grow old. There's lots of people that don't have family close, that are alone. You can't be putting that into the hands of a private company who are there to make a profit on people's lives. That's not right.
No, and it's one of the big dilemmas, isn't it? That people concentrate. They think the NHS is the health service, and that's the frontline hospital service. But there's so many other elements to it, aren't there? So so schemes like this in Solihull, we say presumably big thumbs up to that.
Brings people together.
Yeah. Talking of thumbs up. Nice to see a new newspaper being launched this week, and I never thought we'd see this happen. The New Day. Have you seen this?
I haven't. No.
The New Day.
Can I just touch it, because it's a new newspaper. It's on paper.
Yeah.
It's not online. It's
everyone's talking about newspapers having had their day. And Trinity Mirror have been bold enough to put this New Day together, and I think it's very magazine-y in its look, isn't it? I thought. My Mrs. Jones loved this. I'm not quite sure. I thought it was maybe perhaps edgy enough, and it's a bit random. There's sort of a bit of fashion, then there's a bit of sport, then there's a bit of.
It's not your traditional red top,
sport,
is it?
No.
There's no sport on the back. There's quizzes and weather and stuff like that. They've been very definite as well by saying when we don't have a website, you won't read any of our stories online. They've got a social media presence, of course. But I think it's bold, it's brave. I think to go against Metro, which everybody gets free on the bus and free on the train, and The Eye, which has just been sold. Interesting times ahead. Does this mean the end of traditional thick newspapers and something that we just flick over in 5 minutes?
Well, there's no doubt that people's attention spans are shorter than they used to be, aren't they? I mean, do you pour through newspapers from cover to cover?
Oh, I don't. No. I do tend to keep up to date with the news, obviously, on your tablet, and check things out on there, really. But it is a shame. I think it's kind of contradictory, because obviously I do think it is nice to be able, for those people who do enjoy a paper, to be able to have that. So I kind of do like the idea of keeping it paper-based.
But I bet if you do pick up something, you'd probably pick up a glossy magazine, would you? Or something like
guilty.
that. But that's the feel very much. It just emphasises, doesn't it, that the role of a newspaper these days is not to be first with the news as much, it's to just provide interesting things to range of things to read, doesn't it? So hopefully the New Day is a success. Here's a story. We'll talk about this a little bit more after the break as well, but just to get your blood boiling to start with. A bus lane camera in Heath Town in Wolverhampton. It was set up in June last year. Since then, it has snared 10,600 drivers and earned the small matter of £635,000 in fines.
Oh, goodness.
So it's only been around for less than 9 months?
Less than a year, comfortably less than 12 months. And it's earned £635,000 in fines.
Oh, my goodness.
I can tell by the look on your face you've got lots to say. So we'll catch up a little bit more about bus lanes and whether they are cash cows or safety tools after the break. Welcome back. Now, before the break, we were talking a little bit about this story that was in the Express and Star this week about the bus lane camera in Heath Town, which has snared over 10,000 drivers since June last year and earned £635,000 in fines. The question is, can this be justified? On safety grounds? On what grounds can you justify this, do you think?
I think they're more than in their rights to flash us when we go into a bus lane. What I've got a problem with is the signage around bus lanes, because we've all seen it. Some bus lanes are only there for, say, 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. in the morning. Some of them are for the reverse trip, for the commute home, so 4 till 7 at night. If there isn't a sign there, nobody knows what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
So, you sometimes in a traffic jam because nobody's using the bus lane when it's free.
I think that's one of the arguments. The argument in this case is that if anyone wants to do a sharp right turn, they've got to swing into the bus lane to be able to take the angle, and so of course you've only got to drive something like 20-30 feet in a bus lane, and then you can be. Have you ever been sort of, where you've got the full lane of traffic in the morning, gridlocked, the bus lane's there on the left, empty. You see people, don't you, who just think, let's just. Yeah,
I don't personally do it. I'm just one of these people. I just think, oh no. But I have seen people do it, and in all fairness, I don't think. If that's what they want to do, then there they go. But the only thing for me is then obviously they've got to sometimes get back in, and it's accidents that could possibly be caused when they're trying to nip back in and you're doing the right thing in the right lane. It's that kind of thing for me more so than.
It's not just accidents then, it's road rage as well, isn't it?
Well,
if you've seen somebody come flying down illegally outside and expect to want to just nip in, I'm sure you've seen incidents of that happening.
I'm sure I've done it. The weird thing is, though,
victim or a perpetrator?
Perpetrator. Every place has got them. I know there's a certain bus lane in Coventry that snaps everyone. There's the one in Birmingham City Centre just up Snow Hill going on to Colmore Row. It seems as if people want to have these infamous bus lane cameras that get people almost as a fear thing, to get scared.
There's one in Bloxwich as well, I know, which earned a lot of money in a short space of time. It's almost like a dare to drivers, isn't it? Go on then, do you want to try it? Do you want to give it a go? So yeah, but certainly, what you'd hope is that if they're earning this amount of money, that it's being ploughed back into the transport network. And
you would hope, but if it's going straight into councils' pockets, they've got deficits all over the shop. You don't know where that money's going, but it's probably going to something vital.
Absolutely. Talking of services potentially being cut brings us to our next package, because Warsall's oldest tennis club has been around for more than a century, but it faces the prospect of becoming homeless. It's looking for a new home because its owners have informed members that they want to start a development project, building houses on the site. And that means when the current lease runs out in May 2019, it's not going to be renewed. Here's what Chairman Brian McBride has to say.
I think tennis has a big part to play in young people being exposed to sport in this country, and particularly in the aftermath of the London 2012 Olympics, the emphasis was on getting people off the sofa, trying to get them engaged and to get them down to our tennis club, as we do on a Saturday morning. Sometimes we will have maybe 40 to 50 youngsters down here, and helping them to establish healthy, creative lifestyles has always been a very big emphasis on the mantra that we preach to this local community.
And if the club had to go, how would the youngsters cope? Where would they go?
That's a real problem. One of the great issues that there is within parks, not just in Walsall but throughout the country at the moment, is the dilapidated state of tennis courts. All too often we go to tennis courts, we find there are no nets. that the tarmac is pretty dishevelled and not in a very good condition, and that would be an issue because Walsall Council at the moment doesn't seem to be too inclined to invest the kind of money into local park courts which would be needed in order to continue an active tennis environment in Walsall if this club was to go.
And now the situation has become public and you're making a public campaign. What's the response been like so far?
It's been very good. The aim of the fundraising campaign was not so much to actually to draw in money, but more to galvanise the membership that we have in the local community into recognising that here is a club that's worth saving. So we've had lots of different events. We've had skydiving. We've taken part in tennis, a 24-hour tennis marathon just last week down at the LTA's National Tennis Centre in Roehampton, and we've got lots of other events coming up throughout the summer. So we're hoping to engage more and more with local people, and if that means drawing in additional sponsorship and fundraising, hopefully that will all go into one pot for us, which will help safeguard the club's future.
I guess this is a frustrating one, isn't it, really? Because obviously the club is thriving, it's not struggling. Developers see the potential of making some money out of the land. You've got, and Britain are starting their Davis Cup campaign, aren't they, in the next few days? It only seems a few weeks since they won it. But tennis, there's a big push to say, let's get more people playing tennis. And then something like this happens, which seems to be kicking people in the teeth, doesn't it, really?
It's really, with this, where's the money going to go to? Who gets the money from the developers for the land? Because will it be the members who are losing their club so they can spend the money elsewhere?
The club just rent the site, so they're completely powerless when the lease is over. The owners of the site can just sell it off and do what you would have hoped that maybe when a club's been around for over 100 years that they'd have some kind of loyalty to the area, but isn't it? It's the loyalty versus hard cash argument, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
When you were saying about, you see it in not just in the sports sector, but everywhere at the moment.
Like I say, care that we were talking about earlier, it is such a shame because it should be about, like you say, the people that are obviously going to that club, their membership, obviously they enjoy that. That's their, their time to go and do their hobby, and it's a shame that obviously things are being, let's say, being looked at as that, or let's say the money that they're going to make from it, and it's awful, really.
We were talking on last week's show, in fact, about this campaign to get people off their backsides more and get them exercising more, to try, because of the damage that they're doing to their health by being crouched over their laptops or keyboards all the time. So I don't know, do you feel an incentive locally where you are to pressure you into doing more?
No, because I'm lazy anyway. But I live right next to the old M&B sports ground, which was then bequeathed to Edgbaston and Warwick Cricket, and they've turned what was before a great community resource into something better, and there's always a buzz going around there. I think places like this and Walsall Tennis Club actually add to the community. It becomes a hub, a social place where people can go and people can get fit and keep fit and meet others. One of the reasons why the owners of the land probably want the developers to come in and build the house is because it's such a good area, because of places like the tennis club.
Yeah.
It's a stupid irony.
It is. When we talk, you want. That's what pubs do. That's what village shops do. That's what clubs and societies do. They get community spirit, don't they? Do you know your neighbours? How well do you know your neighbours?
I know them very well, yeah, luckily. And that's the thing, like you say, we're kind of going away from this community and being able to see people face to face. I absolutely love to speak to someone face to face rather than on the telephone or an email. And obviously we're kind of going away from that. And I just think, as I say, that communication that you have with somebody in terms of interacting, it's a real shame that that's been kind of, put by the by. And obviously in this circumstance, people have built those relationships, haven't they, within the members, obviously, that go along, and like you say, could have made real good friends through it. And it's a shame because obviously being pulled apart, it's obviously something that they're going to miss from their social lives. So I think it's awful.
So from that point of view, anybody that does maybe have a potential home for the tennis club, if it ends up worst case scenario, there's benefits. Isn't there? Add-on benefits to actually having the club around.
There's more to life than bricks and mortar.
Absolutely. Now then, before we get into the break, let's talk about sitcoms. Do you like your sitcoms? Do you like your comedies?
Yeah.
recorded. I bet they're all recorded on a box now rather than watch real time, aren't they?
Yeah.
All in
these
box
days?
sets.
Yeah, I've got a couple of box sets. Interestingly, you can't beat a survey or a league table, I don't think, to get people talking. And there's been a survey drawn up this week about the nation's top 10 comedy characters and sitcoms from the last 20 years. So, who are among the favourites? Let's have a look what Big Centre TV viewers made of it.
Definitely Fools and Horses.
Del Boy. Only Fools
I
and
think
Horses.
Del Boy in Fools and Horses. I'll get it right in a moment. Yes, I would say definitely. Have you got seconds or just one you're looking for?
And I think Rodney equally, isn't he? Because as a character, I think the pair of them together complement each other's characters, because the comedy timing is just...
We love
can't
them.
beat it.
I don't think we've ever missed a programme.
Who's your favourite comedy character?
Peter Kay, I think, mate, yeah. Yeah, Peter Kay.
You got any favourite characters of his? Because I know he did Phoenix Nights.
Max and Paddy, man. Yeah. That was quite good, Max and Paddy. So.
Yeah, Rodney, out of Only Fools and Horses. Yeah, brilliant. Classic one with the chandelier where they had the wrong chandelier down, and then the one where he fell through the bar, leaning up against the bar, it weren't there. Definitely a classic, definitely.
Yes, it'd be Benny Hill. Who's an actor, okay, but all the characters that he plays, I thought, in the day were just amazing.
Blimey, from Del Boy to Benny Hill. Discuss.
Benny Hill was never in a sitcom. It was the Benny Hill Show.
That's right.
And if there's a bald man next to you right now, please slap him on the head.
Benny Hill Show. I bet you never watched the Benny Hill Show, have you? But Only Fools and Horses, you'll know.
Yeah, I know Only
You'll know.
Fools and
What
Horses.
what would you pick from a sitcom point of view? I mean, most polls reckon Only Fools is the greatest ever, or Fawlty Towers sometimes. You're shaking your head.
Father Ted.
Because that's been in the news again this week.
It has,
sad loss of
sadly.
another of the...
Frank Kelly died, who played Father Jack, on the same day, 18 years
on
when Dermot Morgan died. Father Ted. For the last 20 years, best sitcom bar none.
Because they only made four series before...
5 series and a Christmas special, I think.
You know your Father Ted, I can tell that. I can tell that. Interestingly, I mean, we've had obviously the new Dad's Army came out of the cinemas, and that makes people look back at the old Dad's Army, and now people are talking about trying to remake Are You Being Served is the next one that they're talking about. I bet that's another one you've never watched.
No.
Do you know about Mrs. Slocum?
No.
Do you know about her...
She had purple hair.
Did she?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, she had different coloured hair in every episode, actually.
Oh, well, I would have loved that.
She had a pet's cat as well.
She did.
Right, okay.
She did.
That's the best
She
way
would
to
have been
put it.
high maintenance. She'd have had a lot of work to do on her.
Would have been even for a lot of service.
We'll talk more about hair and sitcoms after the break and the Big Centre News headline. Welcome back. Now, here's a big talking point from our region over the past few days. It's been revealed that Walsall has one of the highest rates of weight-related issues across the West Midlands. So the town feels it's got something of a battle on its hands, as Roshni Patel reports.
We are concerned about it, we know about it, and we are doing something about it.
Walsall, a town where almost 3/4 of adults are classified as overweight or obese. To be precise, that's 68.9%, according to the latest figures issued by Public Health England.
We do realise that 2/3 of the population are overweight, but that also is in line with national figures as well. So we're not doing anything different than the rest of the population, the rest of the UK.
But let's go back to the beginning. How have obesity levels risen at such an alarming rate?
We tend to have a lot of people in the Midlands who are working in low-paid jobs, therefore they're short of time and short of money. They may have 2 jobs or even 3 jobs that they may be travelling between on public transport. If you get off the bus at the end of a hard-working day, you know you've got to go home, the kids will say, "What's for dinner today, Mum?" And there's 3 takeaways next to each other, all competing with special offers for a family of 4, then you would probably get them as well.
To help tackle the issue, Walsall Council have ploughed £1 million into its gala baths, on top of investing in leisure centres in both Bloxwich and Oak Park. But there is another solution that they're toying with.
We're looking at shifting resources to more prevention and working earlier with children and families to make sure that they don't become a weight. Because obviously once you've got the weight it's harder to lose. So we are looking to work early years with children in schools to prevent them from becoming overweight or very overweight and being more physically active.
And this is something that resonates with Susie's nutritional counterpart.
The truth is, it's much better to prevent than to treat. Once you are overweight, it's difficult to lose weight. If we could get people to grow up with healthy lifestyles so that they prevented themselves from becoming overweight and obese, that would be much easier for everybody.
With 2020 earmarked for a national ambition to see a downward trend in weight issues, will it be worth the wait? This is Roshni Patel for the Midland in Walsall.
I'm going to get my excuses in nice and early here in this little section. I actually think, a journalist's job is fairly typical of some of the problems that are caused in this industry, where you don't have a 9-to-5 existence. Sometimes you can be racing around at antisocial hours, at late notice. You can't always plan your meal times, and so you end up. It's the easiest thing in the world, isn't it? Just pick up food on the go, and you don't look at the package, do you, to see what you
just get some orange chips, and you're done.
Balti pasty at the football in the evening as you're winding down. You were talking about fruit smoothies being the future, the way forward. Is that one of your...
For me, I can only comment, I just think I can get as much fruit in of a morning, I have it for my breakfast, and that kind of, I feel like I've done that then. So it's like, if throughout the day then I don't quite manage to get some fruit and veg in, or, obviously don't get any till like tea later on, then I feel I've kind of...
So your smoothie means that you can have doner kebab and chips later?
No.
Oh.
No.
Didn't quite work out.
It's all a balance, isn't it? Yin and yang.
Well, I must admit, I play tennis once a week, and I feel that justifies me to go and have fish and chips on the way home. It shouldn't really work like that, should it?
Yeah.
But there's been a campaign in some parts of the Midlands for local authorities to become tougher on the number of fast food outlets that are, within a certain square mile. And there's no doubt, is there, that you turn around pretty much any corner, and there's some kind of fast food outlet there screaming with its neon signs.
It's not just that though, is it? You get home and they're all advertised. Obviously, you can just order from your lap. You don't even have to have cash on you. Where you used to have to go to the bank if you wanted to take it. You can just do it all online. It comes to your door.
Isn't it great? It's fantastic.
The trouble is, even these 15-minute meals that you're supposed to be able to do in 15 minutes, they take about an hour.
Let's name it Jamie Oliver.
Okay, yeah. Jamie's obviously very good at far better at doing it than I am, because first of all, you've got to have all these crazy ingredients.
Yep.
You've got to have a kitchen that's about 200
yards. Who's got a spiraliser? Have you got a spiraliser? No. I don't want to make spaghetti from a courgette. I want spaghetti.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
It does. I don't know. Does that put people off? Does it make things more complicated than it actually seem more complicated than it actually is?
Yeah, I think so, because I have been one of those that's like, busy mom, trying to make sure that we all eat healthily, obviously, when we're at home, sitting around the table. And you are constantly trying to find something that's quick, that's fresh, that's good for you. And obviously, you see these, it's only going to take you this long, there's no prep time, and then, like you say, 3 hours later, you still haven't eaten. So it is that kind of the ease, I think, of just being able to...
There's also, though, isn't there, there's a responsibility for parents to actually make sure they're bringing their young children up to appreciate that fruit and vegetables are not the devil incarnate. Some people, you hear these tales, they say, we have to give them chicken nuggets, that's the only way they'll eat chicken.
I think the message is getting through. I was at a carvery in Walsall the other day, and I saw a lad get at least his 5 a day, maybe 15, and the plate was piled up. There was meat on the bottom, so that's his base. But he had plenty of broccoli on there, gravy, stuffing balls, cauliflower cheese, and that's got to count for at least 3 of your 5. So it's going in the right direction.
And he's an obviously experienced builder. Then, if he's got the foundations, he's
he
worked
looks
out.
Very happy and healthy.
He's worked out.
It's fine.
We can be too analytical about everything, can't we? I mean, you read every survey, every report. You would never have a glass of wine. You would never eat most of the things that have just been staples for years. You wouldn't set outside your front door, would you?
No.
So What do we say? Everything in moderation and then a bit more on top?
Moderation and like a bit of exercise, really. I mean, you know, go out, be active, and then, like you say, try and get a bit of fruit and veg in as well. And I think then you can justify your treats.
Never go beyond 2 deep-fried cream eggs.
A day?
2's the limit. A day, yeah. 2's the limit.
They're a bit like shredded wheat, aren't they? So you don't matter.
Never tried one.
I don't think we're going to win him over with this.
No.
Shall we change the subject? Right now, I don't know whether you've heard weather forecast. It looks like we could be having snow this weekend across parts of the Midlands. And so with this cold snap we're experiencing at the moment, it's a good time to spare an extra thought for those who, through no fault of their own, are finding themselves sleeping rough. And the YMCA and Clifton Youth Centre in Sutton Coldfield have teamed up so that youngsters can find out just what it really feels like to sleep on the streets. Aaron Wiggins reports.
So this event is to raise awareness of youth homelessness. So what we've done is we've gone out, we've gone to all our young people, we've delivered assemblies in local schools to get as many young people as we can down to our event today and just experience what it'd be like for them to be homeless. So living on basic rations of food, bread rolls and soup and hot drinks.
And how has it been for the kids that's been doing it today?
It's been cold. It's definitely been cold. They've had a very cold night, but they've done amazing. We put some simple activities on, like card games, dance workshops, something to get them all moving. And I think they've really enjoyed themselves. So.
Is this something that you do every year?
Yeah, it's an annual event that the YMCA put on, and we always do it at Clifton Road Youth Centre. So this is I believe it's our 6th year.
And what are you hoping that all of the kids that have done it today will take from this?
I'm hoping that they'll just realise what it's actually like to be homeless, and if they ever find themselves in that situation, they know the places that they can go to get support. Also to kind of feel the full extent of what it's like to be homeless, and not just, you know, you see the people outside the shop, actually it's cold, and this is one of the coldest time of the year. They're out, they're sleeping it, they're living that lifestyle for one night, and that's the main purpose of tonight.
How do you find that in a country such as England and in Britain that we still have such a big problem with homelessness?
I really don't know. I think I'm shocked by the amount of numbers of homeless young people in the streets of Birmingham and in the UK. I don't feel that this is the way it should be. It's a massive problem. I think it's something that does need to be addressed, and hopefully we'll be doing that by our event today.
Because we talked a bit earlier, obviously, about the housing issue and the importance of finding the right kind of homes for the makeup of the population we've got in the West Midlands. This is another example, isn't it, that a lot of young people are finding themselves out on the streets through no fault of their own, but people are very suspicious about their motives when they walk past them, aren't they?
You walk past somebody asking for money, the first thing is, are they on drugs? Are they alcoholic? It must be their fault that they've got into that position, and 9 times out of 10 it's not their fault at all.
There was a programme on TV this week that was looking at the process that people have to go through to try and claim council house accommodation, and it was quite surprising to me the number of people that you would have thought had really good cases for being helped. Maybe they'd had a marriage split up and the house had gone to the other partner, and so they were just left, but because they were then maybe particularly men, a single man, they fall way down the points area, and they can't. There's no help available out there for them. So
it's that off-cited statistic that you're 2 paydays away from living on the streets. That's scary.
Scary, very.
Because the situation's been sort of inflamed this week. The story in the Express and Star on Wednesday, I don't know if you saw this, but one of the local councillors, Councillor Steve Evans, claimed that beggars, people who are living out on the streets, can earn up to £300 a day on the streets of Wolverhampton.
That's decent.
This has... I mean, I don't know, do you treat that... does that surprise you? Does that...
Wolverhampton, £300. I've heard Broad Street in Birmingham, £800. So, that's market economics working there. So, get yourself to Broad Street in Birmingham. You can have a £500 uplift per day.
But that's not going to help, is it, in terms of your suspicion over the motives of these people?
But are they using that money to try and obviously help themselves and better themselves and get themselves in a better situation?
It's the same argument with any kind of aid that you give to anyone, isn't it? Is it going to the purpose that you want to spend it for, or is it going to be just hijacked halfway through? I mean, the Express and Star talked to a guy on the back of this survey who admitted that he was a heroin addict, who said, he'd messed up his life, but he said, look, I'm lucky if I get 20 quid a day on the streets of Wolverhampton. So,
well, politicians of every colour no matter what party they represent. The thing now is to just vilify poor people because they're the easy people to blame.
Yeah.
Talking of the Express and Star, totally different kind of topic, but the story that almost crashed their website this week. Liam Payne, son of Wolverhampton, formerly of One Direction, who may or may not have split up, is now possibly in a relationship with Cheryl Fernandez Versini, a fashion icon who I presume you find lots of youngsters coming in saying, can I have a Cheryl, please?
Yeah, can I look like Cheryl? And
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and you're like,
Cheryl Tweedy?
That's the one, yeah.
Well, what's her name now?
Cheryl Tweedy, Cheryl Cole, Cheryl Fernandez, Cheryl
Vasani.
Just Cheryl.
Cheryl.
So I struggle to keep up with it. She's going through a divorce, isn't just her second divorce.
Yeah.
And now it looks like, based on the Instagram pictures that have come out over the past few days, that she's now hooked up with Liam, who's 10, 12 years younger than she is. So.
Well done, lad.
If they're happy. That's what I'm
Is that the sort of story that you would rush to a website to read?
I wouldn't.
Is this real love, or is he just going to be a judge on X Factor?
I think he's building up his connections.
Yeah.
This is all a PR thing. Her whole life is PR, isn't it?
They've just gone out for a bite to eat, really.
Do you know what I love? Bookmakers, Corals have given 6-1 on them getting engaged this year, and 2-1 on them singing a duet by the end of 2016.
I'll be turning off my radio for that.
But they wouldn't be putting odds out like this if it wasn't such a big money. People will bet on these sort of things, won't they? So.
Well, the thing is, it's like you say, he's got such a massive following, hasn't he? And obviously hers is even more humongous. So obviously between them.
You think Cheryl is bigger than One Direction?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Around the world?
Yeah, in Britain maybe. Yeah, I don't know about.
Yeah.
Cheryl, she's a clothes horse.
Oh, cut her a bit of slack.
I do prefer horses, though.
She could do with a decent meal, to be honest. She could do with black pudding and fried... what are we talking about?
Let's give her a bag of pork scratchings.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's what he can do. We've got the best pork scratchings in the Black Country.
He'll just feed her up a bit.
Maybe Liam will start introducing her to some of the Black Country traditions.
Go on.
Grey Payson.
A couple of pints of Banks's mild, he'll be happy.
Yeah. Wholesome, very good for them. So Liam and Cheryl, obviously massive gossip talking point. It leads me to the question, what do you put in your salons for people to read? What do people want to read? What sort of magazines do you go with?
It is, like you say, your magazines with a lot of kind of fashion in there. But obviously we have to have a lot of the hair, the hairdressing magazines so that people can kind of see what hairstyle they would like. But again, a lot in there is your celebs, isn't it? Because it's all about who's had the hair done or who's had the hair coloured, and and even as I say, the gents are exactly the same. They're coming in and they're saying they want their hair to look like someone out of One Direction, or
Doesn't that?
That's a bit fine thing.
That presumably asks for trouble, though, doesn't it? That these magazines are there, and I pick them up and I walk in and say, "Here, can I have a Liam, please?" Or, can you turn me into David Beckham?
You see, that's where a lot of training comes into place in obviously making sure that the client is aware what's going to be realistic. And that's again where, a lot of kind of knowledge input needs to be in place, obviously in the qualification, so that they're doing that in the nicest possible way of saying that you're not quite going to...
So part of your training is just cruel to be kind.
It's diplomacy, is it?
I don't think that will suit you. Maybe this would suit you.
Yeah, because obviously you've got to give the... you don't want to be saying to them, oh, of course, and then it's going to look horrendous, because that's going to look bad on you, isn't it? You need to make sure that you're doing the best service for that individual.
The good news is, whether you feel like you can ever look like a Liam or a Cheryl, from an economic point of view...
could look like a Cheryl.
That's your weekend face, isn't it? That's a cherub. From your weekend point of view, or from an economic point of view, the great thing about your business is, doesn't matter whether the economy's on an up or a down, people need to have their hair cut, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's a sort of perk, but it's a necessary perk, isn't it?
It is, very much so. Like you say, it doesn't matter whether people have kind of, see it as a luxury, but they do see it as a necessity. They have to have their hair cut. Obviously for the ladies, they've got to get their roots done. And then, like I say, when it's summer, they want to change, when it's winter. So it's just ongoing, obviously, within the industry. It's very big, obviously, when you do get the younger generation coming through wanting these celeb hairstyles, because that's kind of, they've got the money sometimes, whereas, like, the family member who's got to look after the mortgage, the kids, all of that, whereas the younger ones sometimes have got that spare cash to kind of spend on themselves. So yeah.
I'm going to try and get back into my comfort zone a bit now instead of hair and beauty, I think, because silent films are making a comeback. And this is music to the ears of one local musician who's been improvising and writing new scores for them. Lois Swinnerton went to meet him.
Bringing silent films to life, Vincent has always had a love for the original film form, the likes of Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton topping the list of his childhood heroes. Breaking the silence on screen, he's now combining his passion with his musical talent.
First of all, I think one has to watch the film a few times just to get a feel for it and to understand, particularly with comedy, the pace and also the kind of the gags involved and the timing. Sometimes I write cue sheets just so I've got an idea of the basic idea, but I try to keep it fresh. In a sense, it's improvised, but it's my own music as well.
With scores to over 50 films to his name, he believes the art form is making a comeback.
But I think that people, not just in Birmingham, but people generally are interested in silent film revival. It seems increasingly there are more of these kind of shows with live piano accompaniment, and people understand or are beginning to realise that these are really great films that, in the context of a live audience with live music, can be really appreciated and understood. And I think sometimes people maybe have a perception of what the great silent films are not, and they think that it's kind of very fast-paced slapstick and kind of grotesque humour. And the great films of Chaplin and Keaton and Lloyd are often very subtle and very well crafted, and are really the forebears of modern cinema today. So people really enjoy it, and it's definitely a communal thing when people can come together to watch these films.
Charlie Chaplin is a favourite of his with films such as The Kid and The Gold Rush. Born and educated in Birmingham, Vincent wants to share his passion with the locals.
What we're hoping to do is really bring silent film to a wider audience around this area, Erdington in Birmingham, and also maybe kind of promote the films more generally. I've recently finished a project working in King's Standing, which is kind of just to the west of Erdington, and we showed silent films to community groups, to schools, to local churches and things like that, and that worked really well. So that really formed the kind of the genesis of this project, where we're hoping to go to different community groups and churches and just get people sort of reminiscing about their experiences of silent film and just enjoying them for the great works of art that they are.
As part of plans for a spring film festival, Vincent is...
They don't make them like that anymore, do they? Time's got the better of us, I'm afraid. Thank you both for joining us. Don't forget, if there's anything else you'd like us to be talking about on The Week over the next few weeks, then send us an email. The address is theweek@bigcentre.tv. We'll see you soon.